Welcome, your Saturday night starts right here. Welcome to the second race of the International Sim Racing League Super Formula Series. And we're back in action here after a 2-week hiatus. Obviously the news is every race will be at this 6 o'clock time slot now, week after week. So that's the way it will be. So you better get ready for this lot. That's what's going to happen. And your eyes do not deceive you. We are indeed at Willow Springs. Basically, obviously, the way the calendar was chosen this season, the drivers chose, and this time it was Walter that decided to be at Willow Springs. So here we are. We are indeed ready to rumble today. Here in Willow Springs. Yeah, this promises to be an interesting race because the drivers, as we've just seen Kuba go off, don't exactly look like the most comfortable to send these cars around here at high speed. Obviously it's a tricky track to obviously stay on the track at, so it'll be interesting to see how well the drivers do in, well, staying on the track. Obviously, some of the key stories: Lorenzi's win from Suzuka was removed due to a post-race penalty for the collision with Raiden, which kicked off an absolute storm. And so that did grant Fubuki the victory. However, he is not racing tonight, so he will not have a chance to defend his championship lead, as we have many drivers who will look to try and remove him of that top spot. The Northmen cars of Luckman and Fubuki are also the team's championship leaders. Luckman, who is here, is on track at the moment. He's obviously going to want to try and bring all the points. Kuba is a lone entry, doesn't have a teammate. New entry for this race and for the rest of the season as well, though he is coming out of the pits. Lorenzi, obviously, he's going to be a man who's going to be driving with hatred to retake that victory, which was pretty much stolen from him in Suzuka. We are in the Mojave Desert for the Willow Springs International Racing Park, which is what it's known as, so we shall go with that. There are corner names, I don't know them. You'd have thought I'd have researched them, but we're not that professional, as Lorenzi goes off at the top. It's a very short lap, sub 1 minute lap times can be expected, which has given us a 30 lap race, and Bataille looks to be incredible. Dirty air, as the drivers have already been saying, is going to be causing problems as they struggle to follow each other. As far as overtaking goes, it's not going to be one to overtake on. It's pretty much a high speed. It's a really high speed track taken at, well, high speeds, as we see there. Hall of Fame's coming around, wanting to hope for a much better results than he got last season. How many drivers do we have so far? I know Fubuki's not going to be here. I don't know about Nike, who might be showing up, and Raiden Lad, who should also be showing up. There are a couple of others as well that probably won't be here, because when do we ever have a full lobby these days? Should have 14, we currently have 11, which is including these. We have 10, so we're missing 4, which is Fubuki, Nike. We're missing those two, I know we're missing those two. Also, we're missing Raiden Lad, and there is one. Oh, wait, no, we don't have 14, do we? We have 13. So it's just those three. Nike, Fubuki, and Raiden Lad are not in action, so we will try and find where they are. And just give me a second, so I just display messages. Yeah, there we go. That's that. As we get ready to rumble for the next race, the championship. Mikey. Hello Mikey, hello Pixel HD, welcome to the stream. As we prepare to embark in about 20 minutes, we've got a bit of practice going on now as drivers go around trying to master this track. I don't know how well they will master this track. So, here we are then, Willow Springs. It does have corner names and stuff, but I don't know them, which is around about with Lorenzi through turn 2. It's not exactly flat, but doesn't fully lift or keep some throttle on as he goes around the tie. Pretty much 5th gear there for that second corner, bit of braking. Is this an overtaking spot? Is any of these corners overtaking spot? This one possibly a very corner which tightens up. I personally dislike that corner strongly, always is my head input, that's the way it is. It's going on a flick right as the tyres go up, that's going to be a nightmare. In fact, it already looks like a nightmare of Lorenzi, who is hedging on, holding onto the edge of grip. There is Reedon, I think, just up the road in 6th, who was fighting Lorenzi for the victory in the Super Formula race in Suzuka. Now is in 7th place at the moment in this little practice session. They're just going around trying to make sure they keep it off track, as Lorenzi does not, as he hits the pit wall. That's not a pit entry. Good luck in the race, lads. Commentary at its finest, Sir Robert. Thank you. Mikey, glad to see you are here and enjoying. Let's watch someone who's actually on the track, such as Walter, who actually decided that he wanted this track on the calendar in the Brabham Walte racing car alongside Racer Tay. So it was Walter's decision, so anyone who wants to hate on the fact that this track is being raced on, direct your blame that way to IGTR and J. Walter, for it was pretty much his decision to put this track on the calendar as he starts the first flying lap into turn 1. It's not exactly the heaviest braking zone, could cause chaos at the first corner. We will have to see how that all unfolds round turn 2 all the way round. And before accelerating hard onto the exit and maybe accelerating a bit too soon, running a bit wide across the track with dirt on your tyres. There isn't going to be any more grip. Obviously Walter running the hards. Is this a bit of race sim? We could expect to see Walter starting on those hard tyres, as he usually does. Hard tyres goes long into the race, and it might not be a bad shout for a track like this, as he just about holds on there right around the edge. It's going to be interesting. I've heard reports the track position's going to be key here, and tyre wear is going to be high as Walter bails out of that lap into the pit lane. So yeah, it looks like track position is going to be key here in Willow Springs, as Bill tyre wear as Walter switches on to the medium tyres now. It's really interesting running. It'll be interesting to see what strategy the drivers embark on. We've not really spoken to many of the drivers beforehand on what they know about strategy. Toyota Racing's the Ponte, he'll be looking for a strong race and a sorted out strategy after what he did last race. It was pretty much a 3-stop, and not really anyone knew what was going on as Lorenzi's finding his way back onto the track. Wittmann and Ruti is strong up at the front, not teammates this time, as Ruti's left Wittmann to go to Red Bull, and Wittmann G goes to the Stone Age Motorsport team, which usually should be sighted with Nike, who hasn't decided he wants to show his face yet in this league. But obviously with qualifying it will be starting at 30:30, so get ready, get a cup of tea ready, or whatever you guys want to drink while watching, or even if you want to drink anything, don't have to get anything. I'm not forcing you to do anything. Also, just quick apologies if in the background it is bonfire night on Tuesday, and so that means people have gotten a little bit too trigger happy and fireworks have been popping off so far. So I don't know if you'll be able to hear them on the stream as we go through the race, but but if you do, then that's what that is. People decide that fireworks are Copper Yorkshire City's finest, yes, indeed. As Wittmann G goes skating off the track and actually behind the barrier there, so I don't know how he's going to find his way back on the track, but that's interesting positioning, as Wittmann's miles off and also on the other end of a barrier, so I don't know how he's going to find his way back onto the track, but I'm sure he'll find his way in a massive desert in America. In the Mojave Desert, my geography of America is not that good to tell you whereabouts in America is. I'm pretty sure this is in like the Mojave Desert or something. I could be wrong, but if it is, then cool. If not, let me know if you know whereabouts this is. Is he going to just drop off the edge? I don't think the game will allow him. This is a bit of entertainment in the practice. Wittmann miles off the track, he looks to have found an entry point back onto the circuit, but he appears to be a bit lost. Let's hope that doesn't happen in qualifying, as he looks to be struggling to get on the track. Wittmann appears to be stuck at the moment. He's got a bit lost and should be right on board. Let's right on board with Wittmann, as he appears to struggle to find his way back on the track. He's now going backwards. It's interesting. I don't know what's going on here with him, and he's currently set the fastest time, 58.6, but he does appear to be struggling to get on the track. Oh, he's now off. He spins round. Is he going to actually make it onto the track? He's going across the track. Thankfully, there's no one there, and it looks like he's got himself sorted out back on the track after that little exploration event. Someone has gone spinning off wildly and has just fallen off the edge, and it is Walter, final corner, a deceptive corner that one, as you come round quite high speed and then just suddenly tightens up. But will the drivers be braking as Walter reverses onto the track into some clean air? Someone looks to have gotten a wobble on. I think that was Lorenzo getting a wobble on going onto the pit straight. Don't accelerate too soon, which I think is the philosophy for this track, is just don't accelerate too soon. I'll make sure you're on the track, because you touch the dirt, you are gone, and that's unfortunately not how it wants to be done. Round turn 2 then. Rising up the hill, he's gone purple in that first sector, looking quite close to the front between Ruti, Wittmann, Lorenzi only 2 times back, Kuba, a new driver, he's only a 10th back, Luckman very close, Walter 1.4 seconds, Raven might struggle here. He says he's not done much racing around here, and it doesn't look like he's saved any competitive lap times. This could be an uncharacteristic race for Raiden. Down the order, it looks like he could be struggling, whereas his former teammate from last season race, Tay, sits in the pits, and that appears to be our field for today. Here we go then, as Hunty the Ponty falls off the track. We can only imagine the words he's using right now, but there again, he is an air-rated driver, so we need to make sure that Hunty is an air-rated driver, so we should expect strong things from Hunty here in Willow Springs. There's Raiden being followed by Wittmann, who is currently just following him through. Obviously, the dirty air looks to apparently have been heightened in recent updates on this game. So obviously, with a track with corners like this, you don't want to get stuck behind another car. With Raiden letting Wittmann through, doing exactly that, making sure he's not stuck behind another car. So qualifying, it's going to be a track position battle. Make sure you're on your own so you can run around it. There are a couple of straights, but don't think Substream's going to be anything given the corners, high-speed nature of the track. Following another car is just going to lose so much downforce. You're going to struggle to get through the corners. This corner as well is going to be one as you're just constantly turning in. You're going to be taking a lot of life out of the tyres. Luckman's running without a teammate for this one, as Fabuki unable to make it. So he's single-handedly representing the team's championship. And look at that gap between him and Lorenzi and him and Kuba as he comes across the line. Improves time. No, it does not. 2.7 seconds down. So in the end, it's looking very close at the moment in the field as Luckman is just lodging himself between the two TSF boys of Lorenzi and Kuba, along with Wittmann, who is also that TSF club. So it'd be interesting to see where they all slot themselves in. We have Hubba Frangens in 6th. Like I say, he'll be hoping to actually score points. He was unable to pick up the points in Suzuka. He said that's like one of his worst tracks on this game, so we will be hoping he can improve upon that. With Hunter the Ponty just behind him in Toyota Racing as he drifts off the track down in 7th place, but manages to catch it because after all he's an A-rated driver. Racer Tays in 8th place and just nowhere at the moment on the track. 15 seconds off the pace from Hunty the Ponty. Raiden is, well, spinning around in the dirt and currently last as Ruti does presume the top spot at the moment, interestingly, but very close to Wittmann, who has managed to edge down just over 6 tenths to Lorenzi, who he has now just passed on the track. So good thing they're not getting in each other's way and are not tripping up over each other. Kuba, he comes out of the pits now in 5th place at the moment. Obviously his Super Formula debut, he's going to obviously want to try and impress, and I'm sure he will be trying to do just that. As Hubba Frangens half a second back, just slowly whittling down the time on the top guys as Walter now up into 7th has managed to jump up. Hunty Raiden hasn't yet got a lap time and he's off the track, miles off the track right now. I don't even know where he is. We're not even looking at him right now. We're supposedly looking at him, but the camera's looking down the main straight and pretty sure it doesn't take a genius to figure out he is not on the main straight. I think he's spinning around at the moment. Yeah, he's very much lost, I think. He's a lone wanderer out in the desert. He's very much walking a lonely road right now. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think this is Raiden at his finest. This is clearly not his finest now as he tries to cut straight across the middle of the track. Here are the bumps. Looking at some signs. Number 1 at W. Oh, I was reading that, Raiden. Turn back round. Turning around, Raiden. I was reading that. No? Okay then. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to read that, Raiden. Stop spinning around a minute. So Raiden's having fun, I guess. Well, even if it's not, he is now. His take is very close to getting off the track there. He actually goes purple in that first sector, so you can tell they're really going for it now as he fits on a set of softs. And now he goes around the track and set a purple first sector and drifted very close off the track. I mean, he has paid to use the entirety of the road, so why not go for it? Round over the top of the crest, comes back down the hill. It's almost a rally track, this one, as he goes 1.4 seconds up in his time in that middle sector, but it's not a purple middle sector. I don't know why he must have gone off, because his current time is a 1:08, which is 17 seconds off the pace. Ooh, a bit of a wobble there at the final corner, and he spins, and he looks to have thrown it away. There's a mistake there from Razor Tay. He struggled in qualifying in Suzuka, making mistakes on every lap, which sent him to the back, and he had to fight his way forward. And now in practice, in what I can only assume is a bit of hot lap practice, qualifying, has now made a mistake at the final corner, which is sending him to the back, and he finds his way into the pits in the end, and that resets him on track. So will we see a threat of mistakes in qualifying which could change the order of the race? It is possible. It is very, very much possible, as here comes Ted back out on track then, maybe to get in a bit more of that whole hot lapping practice to make sure he's ready for qualifying, which should begin in just under 10 minutes. Here comes Tay round then. So then we have CSX Racer Tay as he comes around the lap now on an out lap, so we shall get back to him when he comes onto a flying lap. But Fraggins, he's going straight off our final corner to be catching many people out as he gets launched into space and then disappears as we look at the start finish of the man waving the yellow flag. He will also be waving the checkered flag 30 laps after this race. But who will be the first to see it? Lukman Ali has managed to put himself 6/10 ahead of Ruti, an impressive time to put him up at the front. That is impressive from Lukman, an impressive time. His teammate inherited the win in Suzuka, and now Lukman is looking strong. Just to remind them of the post-race interviews. Obviously Lukman had a strong race last time, and it was enough to put them on top of the team's championship. Can they hold that lead though after this race? That will be the question. But it looks close at the front. So I will need to start thinking of questions as the race goes on for our top three, but that's a fair way away now. Drive through penalties for Halter. There we go. I don't think Raiden is enjoying this as Tay goes second, and only just between Ruti and Lukman. It is looking close at the front, but Lukman currently has the edge. 6/10 is the gap between Ruti and Vimmen. It's looking close at the front, and even this field is looking close at the front. As indeed, this field, across multiple races in Suzuka, we were having a terrific battle between Lorenzi and Raiden before it all came undone for Raiden. But it's not the point. We still have a strong race on our hands and a strong season. This is just fun. While Hunter, you're an A-rated driver, so you know you should be good around most tracks. But as Walter, he continues round. I feel like there's going to be a lot of death threats going Walter's way for choosing this track, putting it on the calendar. But there we go. Racer Tay pulls over, currently sits second, doesn't want to get in the way of his, don't want to impede his teammate as Walter touches the grass or dirt or whatever. Right, Riding Lad will not be making the race. We've got like 5 minutes till the stuck check, which shall lead indefinitely on to qualifying, but Luckman does have the advantage. Racer Tay finally got his lap in and it put him into second, only just behind Luckman, so fine margins that we're playing with right now at the front. Could prove to lead to a very interesting race indeed. If we've got drivers at the front fighting, giving absolutely everything. Yeah, so drivers giving absolutely everything at the front, and we're already close, and it is just practice. But there goes Racer Tay off the track as I just look up back at the screen, and Lorenzi puts in the fastest time now. At 3 times, obviously he's going to want to go for that victory that was robbed from him in Suzuka, and I'm sure he feels like it's possible. I'm sure a couple of these drivers feel like it's possible. We could be in for one hell of a race as we prepare to get the stuck check, and then the qualifying, and then the race underway here in Willow Springs in America, in the United States, which obviously makes it a home race for Hubble Frackins and the home team as well, the 40 Boost Monster team, and I'm sure he will be wanting to perform well in front of the home crowd. Obviously home supporters driver always gives you that extra couple of attempts, and looks like you're making an impact as he currently sits himself 5. Obviously some of the drivers are in the pits, so obviously removes them from the timesheet for whatever reason. The game does this until they come back out on track for him, and Raiden looks to be struggling. Cuba seems relatively mid-pack at the moment, and then there is Hunty the Ponty, who is also in the pits. It'd be interesting to see where they finish and who will end up on the victory or the top stack of the podium here. There goes one of the drivers as Luckman decides he's just going to cut the track and create his own layout here of Willow Springs, just cut out that entire first section, because you know who needs that first section, alright? We have Vipman G quickly chasing him down. Here comes Luckman down the back straight, heading into the final corner. Now you can see the other versions of the Willow Springs track just in the background. I believe that's Horseleaf Mile you can see in the background there, and there is also the Streets of Willow, which is my preferred version out of the track, to be honest, but obviously I didn't pick the track, so there you go. Streets of Willow is also going to be around there somewhere, which I'm sure if you saw it from the above image you could easily see where it is, but here we are as Ruti parks it up. The stuck check obviously should be getting underway shortly, but we'll be curious to see obviously who can master the start. Stuck check, then 10-minute qualifying. Raiden has given us the word. It looks like it's about to start then as drivers prepare for stuck check. The final begins, though it's not the actual final, it is the stuck check, so expect to see cars off the track the first corner. Obviously it's just to make sure everyone gets off the grid well, no one's getting the glitch where we get stuck on the grid. I've not seen anyone do that for a while. I've not seen many people do that in a while. So there's Luckman then at the front of this stuck check as our drivers line up on the grid, but there isn't actual grid slots. It's a maze. They've managed to put themselves there. So as we see Luckman on the grid at the start with Racer Tay on second with Ruti rounding out the top 3 just for the stuck check though, so a light at Shaw, if they could see lights, I don't even know if there are lights. But there we go, America's original road racing circuit. Luckman looked to get away well, Racer Tay getting off, a lot of wheel spin smoke, and there's Hunty off the track already. The race day gets down the inside of Luckman. Everyone looks, no, I was about to say everyone looks like they've stayed on the track. Cars have been skirting off. There are cars literally everywhere, and they're all, as Rooty gets sent to space, all playing in the sandcastles today, and there will be a lot of sandcastle building in today's race as Wittmann launches himself across the track. Race 2 is also being reset. There will also be a lot of track resets, I reckon, because when it comes to a race, they will get launched in. Here we go then, 10 minutes to determine the top 10, which is everyone in this race. Who will be on pole position? ERT right next, he leads us a race. We will run on board as we watch him. Raiden is our first man out on track. He's closely followed by Race Tay, who has Herbert Fraggins for company. Logan's in 4th place, getting followed by Wittmann and Walter, very close behind them. Lorenzi's given a bit of a gap with Hunty, who has just gone around the outside. I think Lorenzi's backing up to try and find a bit of space. We've got Rooty as well, and Kuba is the last one to leave the track. So we've got Herbert Fraggins and Race Tay pretty close to Hobo. Looked to have a bit of a snap there. Luckman and Wittmann are close to each other on the track, so I wonder if there's going to be a bit of a scuffle there for positions. Luckman runs off the track, and that answers that question. So then Raiden, as he launches himself down the back straight, he's going to be preparing to start himself on this new lap. The ones that I'm assuming will just start on the soft tyres will probably be pitting in, which includes Luckman. And I think that's about it. Rooty, he'll probably come in as well. So here comes Raiden then. Let's ride on board steering wheels. We can judge his everything. He's usually a man that you would put on contention for pole position. Deep into the braking zone of first corner, pretty much flat. We'll see how he takes the second corner. That was 6th gear flat for Raiden in that second corner. It'll be interesting to see if he does that later in a race where his tyres start to go up, running very close to the edge of the track there. This corner tightens up right away. You want to accelerate as soon as you can, but not too early. You run off the track, fling it round, quick switch of direction. Interesting now is the next challenge is the final corner, which goes on and on and on. It looks to go on forever and then tightens up slightly at the end. Will he brake for this final corner though? As he goes round, hooks the inside, is he going to brake for the final corner? Not even a lift. That is brave, but Raiden has taken us round a lap of Willow Springs and across the line, set the benchmark time 57.3. They all have to beat. Race Tay, does he beat it? He does not. Wittmann G, is he beating a 57.3? Negative. Walter next across the line, doesn't. Luckman next across the line, doesn't. Hunty the Punty, does he improve on the time to beat? He remains P6. Lorenzi then is the next person who's going to be chasing that 57.3 from Raiden. Where does Lorenzi place himself? Lorenzi goes P3 then. Herbert Fraggins, he'll come back across next to 8th place. Rooty at the final corner now. And across the line, I believe this is just an outlap. As is Kuba as he comes across the line. And it is a 8th place for Kuba, puts himself ahead of Herbert Fraggins, who had a 1:16 time. I bet his lap was ruined as Kuba. 1:09. Hunty to Ponty at 1:05. Luckman 58.9, so I'm sure some of these will want to improve their laps. But Race Tay's on the front row after the initial run. Lorenzi, though, very close behind him. Wittmann's not exactly much further behind them as those two choose to pit in. What does Lorenzi do as Wittmann also bails into the pit lane? Lorenzi into the final corner now. Is he improving his time? Is he going to pit in? I think it won't surprise me to see him pit. The tyres on the soft really look to have one good lap in them. It's pretty much a one-shot qualifying, it seems, as Lorenzi does pit in then. So it looks like they're only getting one lap out of these soft tyres then. Look, only a 10-minute qualifying, not exactly the longest in the world. As Luckman comes around now on an outlaps, I think he's pitted for fresh rubber. Has Walter as well. Thank you, Nick M3 guy. Glad to see you here and liking this. Obviously, here we go then. Wittmann G is on fresh tyres, so the majority of these drivers are now on an outlap. We'll try to find someone who isn't, and I think Hunty the Ponty is indeed on a flying up. Though with those tyres, it wouldn't be too much of a surprise he runs very wide. So yeah, grip-wise on those softs, it looks like there's only one lap out of them. So as Luckman charges round, then it looks like he will start another lap. So interesting enough, those softs have one lap in them of, well, good grip, and then they're just gone. So that is going to make for an interesting strategic race of very many stops, it would seem, as Luckman now begins his lap. 1:0 wasn't any slower, but does he improve on this occasion then? Through turn 2, is he flat through here? I think there was a bit of a break on entry, to be fair, but is he coming it round? He is remaining there as he launched himself into the third corner there. We've got Hubble Fraggins who pits in. Someone's coming into the pits as well is Ruti. Vitamin G, he goes through now. Lorenzi starting a new flying lap. Lorenzi to try and get himself onto the front row. He started on the front row in Suzuka, jumped Raiden off the line and then managed to pretty much hold the lead after Raiden tried to make an overtake which ultimately failed. Handed Lorenzi a penalty which cost him the win. Raiden then bails out into the pits half a second up. Tay was his former teammate. Tay comes into the pits, does he? No, he does not. And across the line to take provisional pole away from Raiden Pittman. Coming round as Raiden tries to get out of the way of those two who are flying around quickly. What can Lorenzi do? In retaliation to Tay take a provisional pole. Strong up from Lorenzi. 2 temps up. It could put Lorenzi onto third place. But I don't think it'll put him much further up, as now Raiden will go chasing down Tay's lap that is currently putting him on provisional pole position. Where's Lorenzi? Coming up to the final corner now. Is this going to be an improvement on his time? Is it going to be an improvement on his position? It does put him third, but by such a small margin. I'm sure Vitamin G is going to want to try and push it back as he follows Tay now down the straight. And Luckman, whereabouts is Luckman? He's just quickly following in behind him. Does he improve his time? He's down on his time. Here is Walter coming around the lap then in 6th place, looking like he's pretty much ahead of the midfield at the moment. With Ruti as well, he comes round in 7th place. You want to know, he's probably wanting to try a lot harder than that. Wittmann in, Race Day in, obviously wanting to try and protect their positions at the moment. Luckman follows them in. Raiden starts a flying lap. There's a car on the exit of the pits. It is Vitamin G who gets out of the way of Raiden, as Raiden did on the lap prior, so very close at the moment, and I think that's close action between Wittmann and Luckman coming out of the pits. These drivers have all just come out of the pits now, like they're tripping up over each other, but in the end no incidents in the way of that. So Raiden goes chasing down Tay's provisional pole time. Here's Lorenzi in the pits from 3rd place. Hubble Fraggins has managed to jump up into 6th with a strong lap time from him, but immediately beaten by Ruti, who pushes himself into 6th, dropping Walter down, Kuba down, and Humpty the Ponty down in 10th place. Kuba, I'm sure in the practice he knows he's probably got more out of that car. He's probably not getting enough out of that car, I don't know. But down in 9th he goes then. So where's Raiden as he tries to come around the final corner? Is this a decent lap for Raiden to improve his time? Only 3 minutes left, so only a few laps remain in this qualifying. Out the final corner toward the finish line. And he does put himself fast. It's the 56.8. An incredible lap time there from Raiden. Does put him on pole position, beating Tay. Now it's Tay's turn to retaliate on that one, and Lorenzi as well on an outlap. But Tay is about to start his lap first as Vitamin G's on a lap as well to see if he can get any further up. Lookman, is he going to try and make an assault on that second row of the grid? I think someone went off there in the background as Hubble Fraggins is in from 7th, and Walter 8th, so strong positions for them. Ruti in as well. Here's Luckman, he is up on his time, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Wittmann's off. Wittmann, we just caught him there going off the track, so I don't think that's ideal. Like for Wittmann to improve his time, but it's very close back of Lorenzi, who is just now starting a lap. Can he get on that front row of the grid? You bet he's going to want to try. But it's currently Day and Raiden on that front row. But what can Lorenzi do as he ends the first sector? Is he up in his time? He's up by 3 temps. Currently, that is enough to put him on the front row. Is his teammate Hubble Fraggins is going off, almost making a bit of contact, but the ghost car really did help there. As Hubble Fraggins has got Ruti in the background as well, quickly approaching him. Ruti down in 6th place at the moment. Not sure if he knows he can do much better than that, but Luckman on the second row, that came from absolutely nowhere, putting himself up into 3rd, and a strong lap time that was from Luckman. Lorenzi, here he comes though into the final corner. Is this going to be enough for Lorenzi? He's still on the track. He's not really made an error on this lap, but is this lap going to be good enough? Across the line, it does put him on the front row. And Lorenzi does split Tay and Raiden and goes 2nd place at the moment. Racer Tay, he's 3rd. Luckman is now 4th. Vitamin G is 5th. Ruti 6th. 7th. Walter is in 8th. 9th place Kuba, and Humpty the Ponty down in 10th. Someone's got to be last on this occasion. It looks like it's going to be Humpty, who is quite close to the back of Tay. They look to solve that one though relatively easily. So the frame chasing down Ruti's time. Luckman pits in then after a promising lap time. There is pace in that car, and the pace in the front runners. It's looking like this could be a very interesting race out there today. And not only will it be the person who can stand the track most, but who will have the right strategy, taste out what will be his last lap time. Lorenzi's going to get another lap. Oh no, he doesn't. So Lorenzi is finished on that time at 57.1. He's not going to have time to do another lap time. Raiden's chasing down now as he comes out this middle sector. I don't know if Raiden's going to have time to do another lap. No, he won't. So this will be Raiden's last lap and possibly the final benchmark time as he improves by 2/10 of his own time, making it a purple middle sector. Quali over. Out of the final corner, here we go. Raiden comes across the line. Is he going to improve his time? Yes, he does. Raiden improves to go half a second. Lorenzi, who had just come out of the pits, obviously now doesn't have a chance to set a lap time. Race taking down on his time, so it's going to be really difficult for him to get onto that front row. So I think Lorenzi might have been saved there by a risky choice. What about Luckman? He stops up his qualifying's over. Wittmann's qualifying's over. Obo's over. Ruti's over. Kuba's in the pits. And Hunty has just crossed the line. So it's all on Race Tay, who is going slow into the first corner. So there is your grid, and it is Raiden who's taken pole position for the second time in a row, and for the second time in a row it is Lorenzi on the front row with him. This time though, Race Tay did get a clean lap in and has got himself up there. And so what that basically means now is that, unlike in Suzuka where Racer Tay struggled, it is now time to see what this race has in store for us. The grid has set this one up perfectly. Raiden, Lorenzi, Racer Tay, Luckman, Wittmann G, Hobo Fraggins, Ruti, Walter, Kuba and Hunty is your grid for the second round here in World Sprint. That will be how they start, but how will they finish? We've got Raiden then on pole position yet again with Lorenzi, who feels he should have won in Suzuka and did win on the track, but it was actually Fubuki that took the victory in the final standings, but Lorenzi took the checkered flag. Unfortunately, the penalty coming his way didn't quite help him, and I'm sure he's going to want to show that he deserved that victory, and he's going to want to win. Raiden as well, he will want to win as well. He feels he could have won in Suzuka if it wasn't for that incident. He's obviously on the other end as Lorenzi is. So was that penalty worth it? He believes it was, knowing that it had happened. His rear tyres look to be absolutely shot. As far as tyres though, Raiden and Lorenzi on the softs, Racer Tay softs, Lauren Pullen softs, Wittmann mediums, Robert Fraggins softs, Ruti softs, Walter mediums, Kuba hards and Hunty softs. So a lot of soft tyres being decided upon as the race is about to get underway, right on schedule. Here we go, ISRL SF Race 2 here in Willow Springs. It is indeed Raiden there, pole position with Lorenzi, has the inside line. If he gets the start right, he can put himself on that inside into the first corner, which could be the key overtaking spot. But will there be any others as this race gets underway then? Raiden has 30 laps between now and a possible victory, or will it be Lorenzi, or could it be anyone else? Here we go, the reds build, the tension rises, and it's lights out, and away we go. It looks to be a great start from Raiden and from Lorenzi as they burn out their rear tyres as they charge into the first corner. But Raiden looks to hold the lead. Lorenzi second still. Third place remains to be Tay Wittmann, and everyone looks to hold their positions. Kuba moves up in the background into 8th place. Ruti actually drops all the way down to 9th place, which is hardly ideal for him. As Lorenzi continues to chase down Raiden then, who has managed to get away on the first lap this time. Lorenzi last time jumped Raiden. This time Raiden has managed to hold out the lead ahead of Lorenzi. He now can focus on trying to build that lead. There's a lot of cars touching the dirt and gravel here, and someone's off, and it's Kuba. Kuba is our first victim this evening in this race then. Luckman has got to Wittmann and Olaf Fraggins chasing him down. Fraggins is going to want to score some good points now, and with Wittmann G chasing down Luckman for 4, we have Racer Tay chasing down Lorenzi and Raiden, and Lorenzi looks like he's almost ready to shape up a move as Racer Tay goes off. Tay's off, but he doesn't manage to lose too much time as Lorenzi though is in the slipstream and he's chasing Raiden into the first corner, and he's hot on his heels. The pursuit begins. It looks like Lorenzi was really starting to shape up a move on Raiden, both on the soft tyre of course. so they've got to use this now. But it looks like Lorenzi was preparing a move on Raiden to take that lead as he came to the final corner though, but went a bit wide on the exit, and that looked to harm him, and Luckman's gone into third. Racer Tay is completely gone. Walter's gone as well. Racer Tay's now dropped down to 9th place, and Walter is not even facing the right direction. So incidents are being felled upon each other now as Luckman, who runs very wide and he shoots across the track, and his time in 3rd place is over. Wittmann inherits that position. We've got Ruti and Ruti and Hunty in 4th and 5th. Hunty having a great start, keeping on the track, and has gained up 5 positions from 10th to 5th. This time Lorenzi's dropped down the order from Raiden, and Wittmann now in 3rd place. So drivers are already falling completely off the track. We've got Hunty chasing down Ruti, possibly about to shape up a move into turn 1, but it's not quite close enough for Ruti to make that move. As he goes off though, Ruti goes off and launches his car across, and that might be the easiest move Hunty's ever had to do, as he moves himself now up into 4th. So Hunty has gone in 3 laps from 10th to 4th just by keeping the car on the track, and if that's a sign of the race to come, then this is going to be one hell of a race as Ruti drops down the position. Luckman down to 6th, Walter 7th, Racer Tay down in 8th place. Hubba Fraggins 9th, he's got Kuba, who looks to try and put it down the inside there, but doesn't quite. Kuba looks to be struggling, it's his Super Formula debut, and what a track to make it on. He does look to be struggling, runs a little bit wide, and now how close can he get to Hubba Fraggins heading onto the back straight? Can he get close enough to make the overtake? He runs a little bit wide now, heading down into the back straight then. So then, any battles going on all through the field? We have Walter, who's been chased down by his teammate Racer Tay. Will it be interesting? These two had to overtake each other and were scrapping on the track in Suzuka, with Tay going down the inside, and he goes off. He's gone off and just about misses the pit entry, but Luckman, whether he meant to or not, we're not too sure, but he pits off those mediums on lap 4 and now onto a set of softs. Kuba looks to join him, pitting off those softs and onto the softs again. No, he's onto the hard, so Kuba is going to be wanting to go along in this race down in last. So Luckman and Kuba making a stop on lap 3. Luckman on the softs though, so interesting decision there as Tay softs looks to have completely died, so they've done about 3 laps and Luckman gets through there. So Luckman now might be, as we saw in Suzuka, the undercut was incredibly powerful, and the fastest driver is the man on fresh tyres. The chain reaction might have been triggered. Raiden pits in, Lorenzi stays out, as does Wittmann, but obviously Raiden drops to 2nd. Is Wittmann closer? He just about pips him there, but with Raiden on now these fresh softs compared to Wittmann's worn mediums, and Lorenzi's pretty much dead softs, Raiden will now be the fastest driver on the track right now, because he's got the freshest tyres, and that looks like that could be a recurring theme throughout this race, as Racer Tay likes to join on those off those softs. So 4 laps and the pit stops are already in full force, and we've got another many more laps to go as Raiden has passed Lorenzi's about to overtake Lorenzi on track for the position for 1st on track, and Lorenzi and Wittmann haven't even stopped. Obviously they need to stop, I mean, I don't think they have much of a choice for Lorenzi to pit in this lap, so this could work massively into Raiden's advantage here to put Lorenzi off those tyres, and he is indeed called into the pits. Raiden, no he doesn't, Lorenzi stays out, so now Raiden's going to have to try and find the move on Lorenzi down the inside. Raiden does indeed overtake him, but Lorenzi staying out as he falls off the track at the first corner, and he's building some sandcastles spinning around, and what is Lorenzi off the track there, and he's immediately dropping time as Wittmann now comes out on the fresh set of softs, and he's immediately closing that gap down rapidly. A 10th every second that gap is going down, and Lorenzi could say goodbye to that 2nd place. Hunty the Ponty, he hasn't stopped yet. Ruti started on the hard, so he might go a little bit longer than most others. Walter on the mediums as well. Luckman on his relatively fresh set of softs has quickly gained on Walter. Race Tay, he pitted onto the mediums, while Fraggins has picked up damage, and Kuba's a long way back, and he's almost about to be a lap down from Raiden, who now has a 5-second gap, and Wittmann, who pitted in from behind Lorenzi, is almost about to overtake Lorenzi on the track. Just one lap later, oh, and he's trying to get around the outside, but as Lorenzi goes into the pits, Wittmann gets ahead, and so from being behind, Wittmann moves up in a second. Ponti, does he choose the pit stops? He does indeed. Ruti, probably not, and he does choose to continue up, and now with Lorenzi on the fresh set of softs, he will be in his hunting ground now, chasing down Wittmann and chasing down Raiden to possibly stay in contention to win this race. We have Luckman and we have Ponti, who are just coming out around about each other, and Luckman's already made 2 stops, so he's really trying to keep on top of other cars pitting. But it'd be interesting to see how much this pays off. Obviously, Hunty now has made a stop onto the mediums. Luckman has already made 2 stops in the first 7 laps, and he's on a set of softs. Tay, he's coming around on 8th place at the moment. In fact, someone has disappeared from the order altogether, and I think it might be Hobo Fraggins. I do believe Hobo Fraggins has indeed left the order altogether, and so that is obviously not ideal for him. And that is indeed a DNF from Hobo Fraggins. So no points on offer for him in the first 2 races. And his teammate in 3rd trying to catch up. Raiden does have that fastest lap. But how close can Lorenzi get to it on a fresh set of softs now? And will dramatically chase down Raiden. So with Wittmann in 2nd place trying to chase down Raiden, has a 6-second gap to him. Lorenzi 3rd, Ruti in that P4 slot at the moment. He's doing quite well with Walter as well, up into 5th. Luckman, he is in 6th and has managed to extend a gap over Onte as well with the soft tyres compared to the medium tyres. Race day, he is pitting off those mediums now. And so he's now on the hard, so it'd be interesting. How long can Race take on those hard tyres? Kuba's pitted onto the hard on lap 3. He has just gone completely off track, tries not to come into the pits, but also tries not to cause chaos, hitting Wittmann across the track, and he manages to do that well then. So Lorenzi's down in 3rd place, he approaches Kuba. He does, as Lorenzi does grab the fastest lap, but there looks to be a bit of an error here, as Lorenzi tries to get to the inside. Kuba goes off the track, and then Lorenzi struggling to get ahead of him there, but off indeed goes Kuba. And Lorenzi continues on in 3rd place. So Wittmann trying to chase down a 5.8 second gap. It has come down in recent laps. So Raiden will probably be aware of this. He pitted before Wittmann, only by a lap or 2. He has pitted before, Lorenzi pitted last, and so has the freshest tyres, but also damage to the front, confirming there was contact between Lorenzi and Kuba. Ruti in 4th place, so Raiden does pit, knowing that gap is coming down. He chooses to pit off those softs and onto a new set of softs. Oh, it's interesting that the soft tyres, and he does come out ahead of Wittmann. He's timed that stop to perfection, because not only is he now out ahead of Wittmann, but he's now got the fresher tyres to extend the gap to Wittmann, which I'm sure is what he's going to plan on doing. And so Wittmann's chances of winning this race slowly decreasing as he's just seen Raiden come out. Now Wittmann is going to need to respond. Walter finally makes his stop on lap 9. Ponti the Ponti crosses across the line, beating MJ Walton. It looks like Race T is not close enough to get out ahead of Walter. So Walter comes out in 7th. Tay, who started in 3rd place, is down in 8th, and it looks to be going wrong for him. But Raiden, it all looks to be going well for him. He survived the onslaught at the beginning of the race and has managed to time his pit stops well, and now Lorenzi only is 2nd back and hasn't pitted either of them, so Wittmann's lost a lot of time, so a mistake must be made somewhere. But do they choose to pit? Wittmann's in, Lorenzi doesn't follow him in, so yet again Lorenzi looks to go out 1 lap longer than Wittmann, but he does not have the tyres compared to him. So interesting choices by Wittmann, who comes out just 4 seconds behind Lorenzi, and so he will be closing that gap down to work an undercut yet again as Luckman pits yet again on another set of softs. That's his 3rd stop of the race, and we've only done 10 laps, only the 3rd to left of this race. Ruti flies on through and ahead and into 4th place. It's really difficult to keep track of who is where as Honti comes round to approaching the back of Luckman into turn 2. Into turn 2, but he's immediately losing time as the fresher tyres from Luckman kick into action, and Luckman and Ruti, who I don't think has stopped yet, and if he has stopped, I think he stopped at the beginning of the race. So as he comes through now, and he does make the move on Ruti to put Ruti down a position into 5th, and Luckman moves now up into 4th. Wittmann G, Lorenzi, Raiden, who's now 10 seconds ahead of Lorenzi, who hasn't yet stopped, and he hasn't stopped again, and now Wittmann's going to be quickly approaching, and I think Luckman, who's just come out the pits, might even be approaching on them. What's that gap doing? It's actually going up to the leader, as Ruti finally pits off those hard tyres. So those hard tyres going about 10 laps, so that's not exactly a promising sign for the drivers. The hards can't really go that far, and Walter manages to get out ahead of Ruti. Ruti comes out splitting the Walter cars. Meanwhile, we have Wittmann drastically catching up. He is decreasing, he is chopping that gap down. One after the other, bit by bit, he's whittling it down, and he's getting closer, and he's getting closer. But will he soon be close enough to make an overtake? Luckman is even closing in on Wittmann, and Lorenzi pits to spare himself, trying to defend the position. Lorenzi pits, Lorenzi exits the pits, and there goes Wittmann now back into 2nd. How close is Luckman to Lorenzi? It's a bit of a gap there, about 18 seconds, as Luckman comes around the final corner. So the cars seem to have spaced themselves out of it. We've got Race who's almost supposed to be lapped here by Raiden, as Kuba goes off the track, gets lapped again. Onto the Ponzi chooses to make a pit stop with this one. Raiden is controlling this race perfectly at the moment. In fact, Wittmann has dropped behind Lorenzi somehow. So I think a mistake has been made somewhere. Lorenzi chooses the medium tyre over the softs on this occasion. We've got Ruti and MJ Walter as they rise at the top of the track to come back down the track now. So here we are then, Walter and Ruti chasing them down. So here we go, over the crest. Is Walter got the edge of Ruti today? If we look at the tyres, they look in Ruti's favour. They're at the same level where only Ruti's tyres are softer. So it would appear that Ruti has the advantage today in that particular battle. Here comes Luckman chasing down Wittmann, still trying to chase him down to get on the podium as Wittmann runs 3rd place, Lorenzi 2nd. He's got a 19-second gap to Raiden, and that's obviously a gap he's going to want to try and decrease, and he is decreasing it slowly, but Raiden chooses to pit, knowing that gap has just dropped under 19 seconds, chosen to pit in, comes out of the pits. It's a very short pit stop time, and Raiden loses very little time in that, only a matter of seconds. And so out the pits comes Raiden at a 19-second gap. So Gap really didn't lose much in the way of time, and he's now immediately going up as the fresh tyres kick in. He lost about 5 seconds in the pits, with now a lap down on Lorenzi, and soon to be on Wittmann as well. As Tay gets out of the way of that one. Kuba and Ace Tay, are they battling into a position? They are not. They're also lap down. Luckman comes out of the pits yet again on another set of softs on lap 15. So we are now halfway through this race, and Raiden has got a 14-second gap that is now going up, and Lorenzi, I don't think has anything really he can do to measure that gap over Raiden to make sure it decreases to the point that Lorenzi is able to beat him. So we now have Wittmann, who is chased down Lorenzi. He's got a 3-second gap, so will Wittmann have to do it on the track? Lorenzi on the medium tyre, Wittmann on the softs. It'll be interesting to see if Wittmann can get that gap on. It'll be interesting to see if Wittmann can get a gap as he comes into the pits to surrender that battle away. Luckman approaches, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. It's about a 5-second pit stop we've realised so far as Wittmann. He immediately comes out back and ahead of Luckman in P3. So there we go, it's just underneath 10 seconds, it's going down at the moment, so Dylan looks to be slow to get going. He picks out onto another set of the softs. A little bit on a relatively fresh set of softs as well, but in the end, and I think there's now going up in the gap. So that is indeed Wittmann going up. We have Raiden, who continues to lead and continues to increase his gap and continues to set the fastest lap. of this race. Lorenzi's in second. Here is Vitamin G then in third, who's just out of Kuba, who's been ghosted. There'll be multiple laps down. Luckman has a 10-second gap over Ruti, who's got Walter not too far behind, only 1.4 seconds. A further 6.5-second gap to Hunty the Ponte, and around he goes. So yeah, here we are then, obviously in the Willow Springs. It is indeed now on to lap 17 as Raiden leads the race over Lorenzi. Ruti is just pitted in now, yet again, so that promotes Walter easily up into 5th. And there he goes into the first corner. Onto the Ponte, just coming onto the main straight now, and so just misses out on surpassing Luckman. Race today, a full 28 seconds behind Hunty. It's really been a disastrous race today. He's gone from 3rd and he's now currently running in 8th, and very little hope of recovery really, which is relatively unfortunate. I know he was one track that was actually looking forward to racing on Willow Springs. Obviously he believes it is a good track for him and he likes it, but obviously unfortunately it hasn't come to fruition today. There goes Raiden then, who is about to nail lap Hunty the Ponte as he follows him through and just tucks to the underside there, lap putting him relatively easy. I don't think Raiden actually lost too much time out from that particular back marker. We're approaching into the final stages of this race now, as we got 18 out of 30 for the championship. Raiden, obviously I think this might put him on to the top. Obviously it's going to be difficult to say. I think Lorenzi might take the top spot of the championship, but I don't know what's going to be more points, a first and third, or a second and a second. Maybe, so I'm just going to obviously quickly work out 18 and 18, that is 36, whereas 25 and 15 is as Lorenzi pits in off those mediums. Now does Wittmann get out ahead? Yes, Wittmann retakes second place. So 18 and a 15, sorry, is as Luckman comes across now, and I think Lorenzi filling up the car has lost him a position now to Luckman, so I wonder if Luckman's going to have the fuel to get to the end. I don't think he will, so suddenly fuel becomes an issue, and I think we can see cars pitting in now for the fuel. The next track after this one is Bathurst. We head off to Mount Panorama. We return to the scene of probably one of the best races last season. Raiden pits in. I'm assuming this might be a fuel stop as well. Yes, it is. Drivers make one fuel stop per race because the fuel doesn't really go down that much to the point that they can only need to make one fuel stop per race. Wittmann second, Luckman in third, but quickly closing down by Lorenzi, who's going to want to get back on that podium to score enough points to put him back into contention for the championship. And I'm sure we could see the likes of Luckman and Wittmann, who hasn't pitted. Luckman, he's about to arrive into the pits, Race Tape pits in, Luckman does pit in. I'm assuming this will be a fuel stop. So yeah, the next race will be Bathurst for race number 3. That will obviously be next week at 6 o'clock, as they will remain to be for the remaining 10 races. The 6th round, however, has been changed following the recent update that added Spa-Francorchamps, and we will race Spa-Francorchamps at the 5th round as opposed to the Circuit de Saint-Croix, which has been voted by the drivers to be replaced for Spa. Although this was a common contender for it, so we could have seen Spa this early in the season. Instead, we did not. So that means we will wait a bit longer to what I'm sure could be a highly anticipated Spa race. As there goes Race Day falling off the track, and it really hasn't been an ideal race for him, and he leaked yet more time to Hunty the Ponte, who was up in a 4th at one point, but somewhere he started to drop down, and it looks like he's bound to be lapped by Raiden, who is now on lap 21. So he's closing down on the final 10 laps as Wittmann pits in. I'm assuming this is for fuel. Lorenzi comes out just behind, but with Wittmann on fresh tyres, this is going to be an interesting battle. Does Lorenzi have what it takes to get ahead of Wittmann, who has got a bit more overtake than Lorenzi, but does Lorenzi have what it takes to get ahead of Wittmann on the track here? His tyres are obviously slightly warm, more so than that of Wittmann, and I think Race Day is backed out completely, and that's yet another DNF, unfortunately. So Lorenzi and Wittmann, who are now down in fighting for second, and Lorenzi immediately starts to drop off, so he's not able to get close enough to make the overtake. So there we go then, it is indeed, as Raiden leads away then, 28 seconds over Wittmann, who leads just 1.5 seconds to Lorenzi, but that's a gap that is ever increasing. Luckman Ali, he's in 4th place, a strong race from him yet again, he's right up there, he's to Lee's confirmation of his retirement. In this race, which promotes Cooper up into 8th place. Rudy then pits in from 5th, and I'm assuming he's definitely going to have to stop for fuel. So where does that promote Walter up into 5th? Well, we're about to find out if it does, and it does, because Rudy hasn't been able to put the fuel in the car that quickly. So there goes Walter into 5th, who has Raiden quickly approaching. Let's hope he learns how to let them through from Season 1's Bathurst round. Here we go then, as Wittmann extends to a 3-second gap on Lorenzi. So would it be a bad decision for Lorenzi to try and pit now on a fresh set of softs to try and close him down, or is it too early to make that decision? Although the question is then, if Lorenzi does pit, Wittmann could just pit in the lap after and immediately cover him off. Luckman running 4th, 20 seconds to Walter, who in turn has got about a 5-second gap to Ruti. So everyone has their mass gaps at the moment. Kuba about 3 laps down at the moment. It's really not been the ideal debut for him, but he will still come home with some strong points of P8 position. In fact, Luckman is slowly gaining on Lorenzi, whose tyres look really warm now. Is it possible, as Luckman are really decreasing that gap now to 4 seconds? It's now sub 4 seconds. Luckman, can he actually make a move to get on the podium in the closing stages of this race? Lorenzi surely needs to pit, and if he does, will probably come out behind Luckman. Can Luckman get on the podium here today? Lorenzi, does he go on for another lap, or is he going to pit in? He's leaking time to everyone now, and so surely pitting wouldn't be the worst decision in the world. But he chooses against it. Lorenzi hasn't pitted. Luckman knows he's gaining. It's now 3 seconds. That gap, he starts his lap 3 seconds behind. Striking distance, just a couple of laps. It won't be long now till Luckman arrives right onto the back of Lorenzi. Is Lorenzi deciding he's going to try and get to the end of the race on these tyres? As for up front, Wittmann and Raiden, they probably could get to the end. Lorenzi's tired. Surely he's not getting the end of this race, but Raiden pits anyway to cover off a potential undercut from cars behind and have the freshest rubber of all. Or is it a splash and dash as well? Bit of fuel adding into the car, and a set of mediums for good measure. So now Lorenzi with Raiden with fresh rubber out in front to get him to the end of the race, and then Lorenzi could also decide on. Luckman though needing fuel, it seems. I don't think he's going to get to the end of the race with the fuel he has, quickly gaining just 1.3 seconds back. Now does Lorenzi pit? He's surely going to have to. Wittmann G, obviously that gap to the front has come down. Lorenzi does choose the pits. Luckman forces him though. Luckman has followed him in, but on considerably less fuel. This is going to be an interesting race. They will both have same level of tyre life. As Lorenzi comes out with the softs, showing Luckman's got to come out with the softs, and he does. The same amount of tyre wear now. Who is the quickest driver? That is what this is going to come down to. Luckman's lap time 57.8, 57.4, 59.6. Lorenzi's 59.5, 59.3, 59.0. So I'm looking at the wrong driver completely. 104s, 1 minute, 59, 58. So interesting, it'll be interesting to see who he's gaining. Though I think it's Luckman who's gaining. He now has the final 6 laps to try and see if he can pull through and grab a podium spot. The depth of things here. The lone driver for the Northman. But will it be a podium winning drive? Can Luckman get it? I don't think he will. It's going to be a real challenge as the gap now starts to go up. 5.8 seconds, it's going to be difficult to gain on that. Unless Lorenzi makes a mass mistake. We have Rucci chasing down by Raiden, his teammate, chasing him down now. As Raiden does indeed go on to lap 27, so he's coming very close toward the end of the race now. Just the final 4 laps of the race, and it could be Raiden to take victory yet again. Obviously didn't get the victory in Suzuka. This could be his first win of the season. I'll be interesting to see if this begins a winning run from Raiden, which he so tends to go on to. Gap has gone up between him and Luckman, but Lorenzi does have the faster tyres between him and Wittmann. Wittmann in the pits. The gap's going to come down, but now with Wittmann on fresh rubber, surely the fight is over for Lorenzi to get second. Kuba into the pits. So as Lorenzi does go on to third, and is now 5.5 seconds to Wittmann, and I'm sure Wittmann will go on to win that race. With Luckman, it looks like a strong drive from him to hold 4th place. He's doing quite well at the moment. So he started up in about 5th, 4th, and he's pretty much just kept it. He's been one of the more consistent drivers. Raiden has done an incredible job on such difficult track to stay on. He's been lapping the back markers, and I don't know if he's had any issues, but I'm sure we will talk to him after the race to find out if he has had many issues with back markers, as it appeared to definitely have been in this race, as once he disappears off the track to go find his A rating. I think he's found it in the pit lane. But Toyota Racing only got one car this weekend. It will be interesting, obviously. Ryan Lab is meant to be his teammate, but it will be interesting to see if they continue to be that way. So with Lorenzi there in third, Wittmann in second, and Raiden, who has led pretty much every single lap. I don't think I've seen someone other than Raiden lead this race today. As into the pits goes Walter from 6th place. 5th place is taken back by Ruti. Where does Walter come out though? With the fresher tyres on the fresher softs, and he's only going to be about 4 seconds back, about 5 seconds back. Is Walter going to be able to do it in the final 2 laps that he has of this race? Raiden, he goes on to lap 29, the penultimate lap. He's obviously controlled the entire race. He's an incredible, very Raiden-esque drive. But can he maintain it for the final stages of this race? Looks like he might do. 25.3 second gap is going to be a difficult one to change the positions around, seems. So as we see, as Raiden now enters his final out, I think we have Luckman and Kuba running close to each other. Walter trying to chase down Ruti, and he's doing just that, but here comes Raiden, who starts the final lap now of 30 lap Willow Springs race. Yeah, and I don't think the drivers will be campaigning to race here yet again. I do believe this is the first time ever in ISRL that this track has been raced, and to be honest, it hasn't exactly thrown up the best of races. I'm not going to lie to you people. I'm not going to try and sell this as some incredible race, because it really hasn't. I mean, Raiden, he comes round the lap then for the final time, and maybe, as far as he's aware, the final time ever. I'm sure it's probably been racing like Marmite race or something, but here comes Raiden into the final corner to win here in Willow Springs, and he does indeed win it in America. He now takes his first win of the season, and it is Raiden to win after 30 laps. Wittmann G looks like he's going to bring it home in 2nd place. A strong race from him. Lorenzi, what could have been for him? He was on the front row, but I think things just did not go his way on the strategy. Luckman, a sensible drive from him, 4th place, probably his best he could have achieved. Walter does finish it in 5th place though, and actually got ahead of Ruti at the final par there. Onto the Ponte, 7th place, Kuba the last of the finishers, as Racer Tay and Fraggins bring up our DNF. So as Lorenzi moves across the line, Luckman, he's about to follow, and I think Kuba is going to be our last one. Last one to cross the line will be Kuba, but obviously it is Raiden then that took the victory, and possibly with this, back on the top step of the championship and back in his control. But it will be interesting to see how the championships look, because obviously in the next race, next weekend, next Saturday, 6 o'clock, will be at Mount Panorama Racing Circuit in Australia for the Bathurst round. We just wait on. Wait on Kuba to finish. And he does just that. A disappointing debut, I think it was, for Kuba. 1-0 shy once again. Those are your officially confirmed results, and it is Raiden who I believe just led the entire race. A Grand Slam finish for it. Did everything he needed to. We got the triple star in the end, so that confirms a Grand Slam victory for Raiden. Just obviously do that, and we shall do our interview phase now, where we talk to the top teams, basically. Well, not top teams, sorry, the top drivers. Who was our top three? It was Raiden, Lorenzi and Wittmann. Raiden, and those two, Lorenzi and Wittmann. We send them the invite to the party to do the interviews. So we look at our official results. So it was Raiden then that took the victory. Wittmann G bringing it home in second, Lorenzi third. Walkman in fourth place, strong drive from him. Fifth place Walter, sixth Ruti, seventh Honti, eighth place Kuba. And then it was Hubble Franklin and Race who didn't finish. Raiden did pick up the fastest lap 16. So we'll await our interviews on the top three. That is fine, Lorenzi, that is fine. I'm not forcing you to join. Hello, Raiden. Hello, Wittmann. Yep. I don't think Lorenzi is. Lorenzi won't be joining us. He's just told me on the stream he says he can't join the party. So we'll go ahead with you two then. First of all, well done. And what did you think of that race? Well, I didn't choose the track, so don't have a go at me for it.
It was quite good fun. I kept most interesting track. Yeah, it was alright. Raiden boxes.
Yeah.
That was quite interesting.
Well, how much of an impact do you think the strategy had on this race?
I mean, it became pretty quick. Just the softs are the ones they go for. If you could just do 5 stops in the softs, that would have been very expensive. You had to use 2 sets. So, but the soft, you just the time you lose in the pits, you make up in like 1 lap of the softs. So you just keep putting softs on.
Did either of you seem to have any issues with back markers? Because obviously you were coming across them a lot, or was everything okay on the back markers front? Yeah. So looking forward, next race is Bathurst. What's your thoughts on that one? Well, I mean, it can't be much worse than this one.
So yeah, it'd be nice to actually drive on top of track.
Yeah, I think with this race we answered the question. Super Formula races can be boring. It is possible. Anyway, yeah, I think that's about everything. And well done. Obviously, next race, Bathurst, be there. It could be an interesting one. And we'll see you in the next time. So, thank you for watching and goodbye.